Vikram Gaur and welcome to Motor Ahead. Today we're going to be talking about the Mahindra Thar. Now, the Mahindra Thar launched in August of 2020. I bought this in December of 2020. So I've had it for a little over a year and I'm going to be telling you how it's performed over 14,000 kilometers. The first thing that really won me over with the Mahindra Thar was the way it looks. Just setting my eyes on it, I knew I wanted it. It has that nice muscular stance to it. It's that typical SUV sort of size. I love the proportions of the car. It's just absolutely stunning no matter which angle you view it from. Key design elements obviously include the nice chunky cladding that you get on the Thar. You get a nice big front bumper too, and a sculpted bonnet that when you're sitting inside, it actually looks even better just sort of going out in front of you like that. Over to the side, Mahindra has done a brilliant job of sort of carrying over slide elements from the older Thar, so you do get that little bit of a Thar silhouette in the new Thar as well. And I think that they've done a fantastic job in bringing that about, especially with the shoulder line that you see running along down the side of the Thar. You also get to see it sitting on nice 18-inch alloy wheels, which Mahindra has sculpted, and they look just perfect. I think they really bring out what the new Thar is about, being a premium sort of upmarket off-roader, and those wheels just sit just right on this vehicle. At the back, they've kept the traditional stepney, your spare wheel mounted on the rear. Again, that's the typical SUV sort of look, and they've carried it over here as well. And those rear lights are, again, a design element that really stand out. And when they light up, they look really, really cool. Overall, the Thar has been compared to the Jeep Wrangler on many counts. And I wouldn't deny that either, because a lot of the design elements do seem to be similar to the Jeep Wrangler, but the Thar stands on its own. And at 16 lakhs, it's a brilliant deal, no? When it comes to the cabin of the all-new Thar, Mahindra has done an exceptional job. Compared to any of the other vehicles, I would say that this Thar has what it takes to sort of put Mahindra in the global league. The fit and finish is excellent. The materials used are again phenomenal. So you've got really neat plastics that have been used all throughout the cabin, and interesting sort of fiber seats as well. A key element to note over here is that the interior of the Mahindra Thar is actually water resistant. So if you do get a little bit of water in here, don't fret. It can just be wiped off and cleaned. Again, going with its off-road genes, Mahindra has ensured that water will not spoil the cabin of your Thar. Again, keeping in mind those off-road genes, Mahindra has mounted the speakers in the Thar on the roof. So you get them right up here, and great sound quality. And speaking about your infotainment needs, you get a large touchscreen interface in the new Thar. So you can access a plethora of information there, your Bluetooth connectivity, your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, navigation, and you also get Mahindra's adventure statistics. That's a pretty cool feature where you can sort of toggle between on-road and off-road statistics. And the off-road one is designed to sort of help you when you are off-road to understand the gradient you're on, the way the car is positioned, your steering position. So it's really useful, and it's a lot of fun as well, because you can really use this more like a toy and less like a car. Speaking about space in the Mahindra Thar, what you do get is a cabin that is well appointed, but overall it is compact. Up front, a big guy like me is very comfortable in the driver's seat. There's ample legroom, ample headroom, all of that, even for the front passenger, not a question at all. And the rear seat is where a lot of people have sort of struggled with. That's because the Thar is a two-door, and to get in the back, you have to slide the front passenger seat forward and then sort of wedge your way into the back. Once you're in there, surprisingly, it is spacious. You get enough legroom, and the seats can be reclined to get a nice, relaxed seating position if you have to be seated back there for a slightly longer drive. The one thing where I have experienced like a problem with the Thar is the luggage space. I really wish that the Thar was about just this much longer. You know, with the rear seats up, getting bags in the back is a problem, and you really wish that that was one thing that Mahindra had looked out for when they designed the Thar. But overall, coming to my own ownership experience, I have taken it out on a few family holidays, and I have been able to get a couple of small bags in there. So there is a hint of practicality with the new Thar, and I guess living with it, I've learned to love it and learn to embrace it and learn to deal with the fact that if I have to carry anything more, I have to leave a few people out, drop the seats, and stick more luggage in there. Being behind the wheel of my Mahindra Thar is a feeling that just doesn't get old. Having driven it 14,000 kilometers, it's a vehicle that just wins you over every time you crank up that engine and get going. Powering this Mahindra Thar is a 2.2-liter M-Hawk 130 diesel engine. That's the version I have, but just so you know, there is a petrol variant out there if you want to look into that, and you also get an automatic variant. But what I have is the diesel, and it comes with a 2.2-liter engine that makes 130 bhp and 300 newton meters of torque. Mine happens to be the manual, so I've got a 6-speed manual transmission, and the drive experience is smooth and refined. That engine runs really smooth, and inside the cabin you just get to hear a low hum. Mahindra's done a great job in packaging the NVH levels and ensuring that all that diesel clatter does not get into the cabin at all. Taking it out for a drive, the Thar handles rather well. It is a little old school in the sense that it's got that whole SUV body on frame build, so there is a bit of body roll, but it stays in check. There's a lot of electronics on board to ensure that the car stays stable and planted. You do have traction control, you've got brake locking differentials which electronically locks up all the axles in slippery conditions to ensure you get that extra bit of traction. You've also got a mechanically locking differential on the rear axle for maximum traction. And while all of these come into play when you're off-roading, which I will get to in a bit, you do get that traction control helping you out while you're on the highway or even on the ghats, taking corners really fast. So time and time again, I've heard the little electronic mechanism going off when I've taken fast corners, and it's allowed me to sort of push my Thar around bends in a way that you normally wouldn't think of pushing a Jeep around a corner. Steering input is a little on the dull side, but overall I have grown used to it, and you learn to live with it. And once you get a hang of driving the Thar, you can really push it around, whether it's up to 3-digit speeds on the highway, where it is actually confidence inspiring. So charging along a highway is actually a no-brainer in the Thar. But where you truly enjoy the Thar is up in the hills, on the ghats, or on narrow roads, and finally hitting where the roads end. That's right. Taking it off-roading is another experience by itself. So what you get is a vehicle that's just built to handle the rough stuff. So you've got an old school style 4x4 shifter, which is manual. So, and you've got your high and low ratios as well. And to help you out, Mahindra has also equipped the Thar with hill descent control as well as hill hold. So both these things come in handy when you're off-roading, and coupled with the Mahindra Adventure statistics, where you can actually look at the pitch and the yaw and everything else that's there to do with off-roading, you can really take this vehicle and push it to the limit. I don't think I've pushed my Thar to that limit. It is, after all, my only vehicle. But I have ventured off on a couple of drives on some nice slopes around Kodaikanal, and the Thar has just been impeccable in dealing with the rough stuff. We've gone up some steep inclines, we have gone over some rocky terrain, some slushy terrain, and while other Jeeps have struggled in this area, I think with all the electronics on board, my Thar, the 2020 Thar, it just does it so easily. It just crawls through these challenges, and inside you actually feel like, hey, what was the big deal? But having said that, it just shows the pedigree of the Mahindra Thar and what you can really push it and make it do for you. Coming back to the all-important question of mileage, I do live in Kodaikanal. It's a nice little mountain, so about 80% of my driving is up in the hills. And over here, I'm getting about 12 to 12.5 kilometers to the liter. I know that I've got a couple of friends who have reported that they've gotten about 15 or 16 kilometers to the liter out of their Mahindra Thar, but they do live in Coimbatore, which is flat and nice, and they've got nice open highways to go out on for most of their drives. But I'm not complaining about the mileage. I think as a package, the Thar sort of delivers in terms of performance, in terms of ride quality, in terms of handling, and it's just something that's just so much fun to be in. And even the family has never complained about the ride quality, and I think Mahindra has done a great job of setting up the suspension on the Thar. So you get an independent front suspension and a multi-link rear suspension with a stabilizer bar. So that also helps mitigate body roll to quite an extent. And like I said, driving the Thar is a feeling that is just so hard to actually put it down on pen or paper or tell you guys about it in this video. It is something that you have to experience firsthand, and it is a feeling that just wins you over. So, is the Mahindra Thar perfect? It isn't. It has its grouses. It's got a few niggles that I've had to face early on when I bought it. The main one being the fact that when I got it, I had to replace the hardtop because the car that I got had a leak on the passenger side. But having said that, Mahindra was extremely fast at addressing the problem. In fact, they shipped a new roof to me within 2 days of me complaining about the leakage, and the replacement was done in a matter of hours. So ever since then, it is held up well. I don't have a leak anymore, and it doesn't drip on top of the passenger sitting next to me. But other niggles that I have seen with the Thar are a little bit with the electronics as well. Sometimes you have a little difficulty in the Bluetooth pairing, and also the tire pressure monitoring system that the Thar gets, it goes off every now and then, and you do get an error message occasionally. But overall, I have really enjoyed driving it, and as an owner, I would definitely still go ahead and recommend a Mahindra Thar. Now, as I mentioned, I've had my Thar for over a year. I've done 14,000 kilometers on my little baby over here, and it is held up extremely well. Overall, I have got very few complaints about the way the Thar has been as a product for me to own. But when it comes to driving it, I have just enjoyed it to the hilt. Taking it up and down the mountain, going off-roading, bashing it around on my farm, or even just puttering around town, it has been a phenomenal vehicle on all counts. I've really enjoyed the fact that I have a vehicle that sort of stands out from the crowd. It turns head wherever I go, and everybody who sets their eyes on the Thar, I can see it in them that somewhere deep down inside they really want one. This is a vehicle that strikes that emotional connect with you. It's a vehicle that brings out that sort of, I really need this. And I think that's the winning feature about the Mahindra Thar. And a year on, it still delights.